Welcome to Afghanistan, a land where the lines between the natural and the supernatural blur, and ancient mysteries linger in the shadows of towering mountains and windswept deserts undisturbed by humans for centuries. Here, the whispers of the past speak of giants roaming the rugged terrains, their legendary existence etched into the annals of time as both folklore and unnerving accounts from modern witnesses. Venture deeper, and you might encounter the hauntings of Observation Post Rock, where soldiers have reported eerie apparitions and unexplained phenomena, or the supernatural jinn, ethereal beings that terrify the locals. But Afghanistan's mysteries are not confined to the ethereal alone. Hidden within its ancient cave networks lies discoveries that can completely rewrite our history. In this video, we'll explore all mysteries, strange encounters and sightings, local legends, and archaeological discoveries that will transport you to a realm where the boundaries between legend and historical fact become indistinguishable. Share Golgola, the City of Screams. Amidst the harsh terrains of the Hindu Kush lies the haunting relic of a once thriving city. This desolate site, now a mere shadow of its once glorious past, holds within its crumbling walls a tale of tragedy and horror that has transcended centuries, echoing the screams of its fallen inhabitants, screams that, according to locals, can still be heard at night. The city's tragic tale dates back to the 13th century, during the merciless conquests of Genghis Khan. It was here, in Share Golgola, where an unimaginable atrocity occurred, forever staining the soil with the blood of innocents and etching its name in history as a site of unfathomable horror. The Mongol invasion, led by the fearsome Genghis Khan, descended upon the city with a wrath that was both relentless and brutal. The inhabitants, who had shown resilience and courage, were eventually consumed by the fury of the Mongol horde. The massacre that ensued was so horrific that it is said the very stones of the city wept with the blood of the slain. Men, women, and children fell victim to the sword, their screams echoing through the valleys and hills, creating a symphony of terror and agony that would haunt the city for centuries to come. As the legend goes, the souls of those who perished in this brutal onslaught were unable to find peace. Their anguished spirits trapped within the ruins gave Share Golgola its ominous title, the City of Screams. Visitors to the site have reported an overwhelming sense of dread, a feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. The air is thick with the weight of untold sorrow, and the silence is often pierced by inexplicable sounds, whispers on the wind, faint cries, and heart-wrenching wails that seem to emanate from the very earth. The most chilling aspect of these reports is the consistency with which these eerie occurrences are experienced. Many have spoken of hearing the faint, distant sounds of a city in distress, the clashing of swords, the thundering of horse hooves, and most hauntingly, the screams of the dying, replaying their final terrifying moments. These auditory hallucinations are so vivid, so real, that they leave visitors questioning the boundaries between the past and the present, between reality and the supernatural. As night descends upon the ruins of Share Golgola, the atmosphere grows even more foreboding. The moon casts long, sinister shadows across the crumbling walls and broken archways, creating a terrifying landscape. The faint sounds of the past become more pronounced, as if darkness amplifies the cries of the long-departed souls. Some have even reported seeing ghostly apparitions, spectral figures that roam the ruins, perhaps reliving their final moments or searching for redemption that never came. The tales of these apparitions are not mere folklore. They are recounted with a conviction that chills the blood. Descriptions of shadowy figures moving through the ruins, the sensation of being touched by invisible hands, and the sudden drops in temperature have turned skeptics into believers. The City of Screams, it seems, is aptly named, not just for the horrors that occurred here centuries ago, but for the lingering presence of something inexplicable, something that defies the understanding of the living. The Haunted Outpost. Observation Post Rock, as it became known, is a 30-foot-high dirt mound in Afghanistan's Helmand province. This site, once a strategic vantage point for the Marines and British soldiers, has evolved into a nexus of paranormal activity and historical intrigue. The mysterious things witnessed, heard, and felt by the soldiers stationed there were so incredible and numerous that the New York Times published an entire article detailing everything about the site. The outpost, overlooking the poppy fields of the Garmsir district, was initially valued for its tactical advantage. However, the Marines stationed there soon encountered inexplicable phenomena: strange lights at night, eerie whispers in the darkness, unexplained radio static, sudden chills, and the disturbing scent of decay. These experiences were beyond the comprehension of the soldiers and hinted at something more profound and unsettling. The local residents of the Amir Aga villages, now a Taliban stronghold, had long considered the area cursed, avoiding it at all costs. This belief was rooted in the region's history, marred by the failed military campaigns of not just the Americans and British, but also the communist Afghan and Soviet forces. The haunting reputation of Observation Post Rock was thus not just a product of recent experiences, but a culmination of centuries of conflict and sorrow. Locals in the vicinity of Observation Post Rock recount a chilling history. They claim that during the initial American missile strikes against the Taliban, rebel fighters were buried alive in the area. When American Marines arrived in the early 2000s to establish a base, they uncovered multiple bodies in shallow trenches. Later on, when the Americans were excavating a collapsed cave system beneath the site, they unearthed another pile of human remains. Intriguingly, these human remains were not those of the recent Taliban fighters but belonged to individuals who had died decades, if not centuries earlier. A local scholar from Garmsir revealed to the New York Times that the mound was initially a fort. Over time, it transformed into a spiritual and burial site, particularly for the ethnic Pashtuns, an Eastern Iranic ethnic group primarily residing in northwestern Pakistan and southern and eastern Afghanistan. The fort's foundation dates back to before the 1740s, with influences from various empires and even traces of Alexander the Great's legacy. The rock's last known use as a graveyard was around 1980 during the Soviet-Afghan War. It was then that Nasim Akhundzada, a notorious insurgent commander, and his men executed about 40 Afghan communist police officers and buried them in the mound. This brutal act, contested by some local officials, further cemented the rock's status as a site of death and despair. The haunting nature of the outpost was not just local folklore, but was experienced firsthand by the Marines and British soldiers stationed there. Lance Corporal Jose Herrera, who spent time at the Rock in 2009, described witnessing mysterious lights, hearing strange static on the radio, and feeling an eerie sense of being watched. These experiences were shared by many soldiers, adding credibility to the tales of haunting. The paranormal aspects of Observation Post Rock gained wider attention when Tom Coughlan, a former journalist for the London Times, reported on the Marines' experiences in 2009. These accounts were later featured in a 2015 episode of the Sci-Fi Channel's Paranormal Witness True Terror series, titled Beneath the Rock. The show featured the same Marines Coughlan had interviewed in 2009. The soldiers' experiences, initially dismissed as stress-induced hallucinations, included drastic temperature changes, unexplained lights, and voices in the night, defying logical explanations. One of the most chilling accounts came from a Marine who claimed to have heard Russian voices whispering in the darkness, a haunting reminder of the Soviet Union's involvement in the region. This experience was echoed by Dutch Perkins, a corporal in a squad that replaced Coughlin's interviewees. Perkins recounted hearing a voice speaking Russian while on guard, a phenomenon that left him deeply unsettled. Just thinking about it makes my hair stand up on my arm. It was real faint at first, but eventually sounded like someone was standing post with me. The haunted reputation of Observation Post Rock is a reflection of Afghanistan's history of conflict and suffering. Locals say that the area had been used as a grave site for centuries, and that it had also been the site of several massacres committed by both sides during the Afghan-Soviet War of the 1980s. The area, laden with the remnants of past wars, including the rusted hulks of Soviet armored personnel carriers, is seen as a site of both historical significance and supernatural occurrences. Abdul Ghani, a longtime resident of Garmsir, described the area as heavy and fearful, marked by the deaths of many and believed to be full of haunted spirits. He recounted a shocking story from the Afghan-Soviet War, when a column of Soviet tanks was swallowed into the earth and vanished. The land, saturated with the echoes of the fallen, was believed to be haunted by the countless souls who met their end in the heat of battle. Perhaps this is not a surprise, considering Afghanistan is also known as the graveyard of empires. This epithet stems from the repeated failures of great empires, from the ancient Greeks and Mongols to the British Empire and the Soviet Union, to subjugate the region permanently. The United States' recent involvement adds another chapter to this narrative. This land has witnessed countless battles, leading to the loss of millions of lives over centuries. Such a prolonged and intense history of conflict and bloodshed has given rise to theories linking the region's paranormal occurrences to its turbulent past. The theory posits that the sheer number of deaths and the intensity of the emotions associated with these conflicts have left an indelible imprint on the land. It suggests that the trauma and turmoil experienced over generations have somehow permeated the very soil of Afghanistan, manifesting as paranormal activities. The echoes of the fallen, it is believed, linger in the form of unexplained phenomena, from eerie sounds to ghostly apparitions. They are seen as the residual energy of the countless souls who perished in the struggle to control this strategically crucial yet unconquerable land. Giants of Afghanistan. If you follow our channel, you've no doubt come across the infamous story of the Giant of Kandahar. However, this encounter is not the only encounter of giants in Afghanistan. We found numerous accounts of soldiers who have reported seeing massive humanoids that tower over the normal man in remote and hard-to-reach areas. We'll tell you all of these stories, starting with the most famous one, about the Giant of Kandahar. The story became famous when it appeared on Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM. According to the accounts, a U.S. Army patrol went missing in the region of Kandahar, a place with harsh mountainous terrain and unforgiving climate. A search and rescue team was dispatched, and after an extensive search, they found a large entrance to a cave. It was at the entrance of this cave that they came face to face with a being of immense size, described as a giant. This creature stood at least 12 to 15 feet tall, with a heavy muscular build, reddish hair, and a beard. It had 6 fingers on each hand and double rows of teeth. Its skin had a ruddy, weathered texture, almost as if it were part of the rugged landscape itself. The giant wielded a massive spear. The encounter turned deadly when the giant attacked the team. The soldiers, trained for combat in the most extreme conditions, found themselves in a fight for survival. The skirmish was brutal and swift. In the end, the giant was killed, but not without cost. The team suffered casualties. The body of this colossal being was said to have been airlifted by helicopter, a task that reportedly required a cargo net and significant effort due to its immense size and weight. The destination of this extraordinary cargo remains unknown, shrouded in secrecy. The Havoc Journal blog, a website dedicated to serving as the voice of the veteran community, published a collection of accounts by soldiers who recounted many encounters with giants in Afghanistan that remained largely unknown. We're going to read through these accounts, adhering precisely to how the story is quoted in the Havoc Journal blog. The Giant of Kunar. I was deployed as an infantry team leader with the Army in the Kunar province of Afghanistan from 2008 to 2009. One night we set in on an observation patrol to overlook a village that we suspected IEDs were coming out of, due to a successful IED recovery a few weeks prior. My lieutenant gave me a new thermal imaging system called the Recon 3 that none of us were familiar with, and told me to figure out what I can and pass along that information to the other team leaders. I started messing with the Recon 3 to see its capabilities and was surprised at the clarity of the zoom on it. I spent most of my time messing with the different functionalities and watching the village. I started to look across the valley to what I could see, and that led me to look along the spur we were set in on, and saw a very large heat signature at the top of one of the false peaks. I did everything I could to get as clear of an image as I could, suspecting that it was a group of Taliban huddled together around a light as they tend to do in the mountains. All of a sudden, the heat signature stood up as one being. The trees in that area grew up to about 10 to 12 feet tall, and this thing was at least as tall, if not taller, than the trees that surrounded it. It started taking steps parallel to my position and was covering ground quickly with ease. Its stride was slow and relaxed, yet it moved with incredible speed. That led me to believe that this creature was gigantic. It very quickly traversed the landscape, and I lost sight of it along a neighboring spur. I did not believe what I saw initially, assuming I had imagined it. I never had seen anything like that in my life. I didn't tell many people about it while I was in and even when I got out. I kept it to myself, thinking there was no way I saw what I saw. But then, in 2010, I listened to a story on Coast to Coast, specifically the story about the Giant of Kandahar. That made all the memories of my time in service come flooding back and made me consider other things I saw during that deployment. For instance, the creature was described as having fire orange hair, and it reminded me of a tradition the locals in the area of my sighting would do. They would dye their hair a bright orange color and even would dye their goats the same color. They never gave any explanation why. It seemed like it was every once in a while they would do this, and then all of a sudden those orange-dyed goats would be gone, and the locals' hair would also no longer be dyed orange. I assumed maybe it was a cultural thing I didn't understand, but now it makes me wonder if that was some kind of gesture to the creature Nephilim, or if the goats were sacrificed to it. I am a Christian, and the Bible briefly discussed the men of renown, aka the Nephilim. I think that's what I saw, a member of an ancient race of giants that descended from fallen angels. Or it could be something like Sasquatch. I'm not sure. There are 3 more encounters of giants detailed on the site, each narrated by military personnel who witnessed these extraordinary beings in different circumstances. An anonymous Air Force Reaper operator, while operating a drone in the northern parts of a mountainous country, encountered what appeared to be giants. These individuals, estimated to be around 10 to 13 feet tall, were observed in a remote village through the drone's mid-wave infrared camera at night. The giants were engaged in mundane activities like tending fires and performing chores around their rudimentary mud huts. Their size was notably disproportionate compared to their surroundings, with goats nearby looking as small as cats. The operator noted their rugged clothing, which seemed similar to traditional Afghan attire, but more heavily cloaked. This observation, lasting about 10 minutes, left a lasting impression due to the sheer size of these individuals. An anonymous USAF airman serving as an FMV analyst from 2012 to 2018 reported an encounter while conducting pre-operation surveillance northeast of Korengal. Initially observing a group of individuals around a fire, the analyst witnessed a figure he thought to be two people under a blanket. Then the figure stood up, making the analyst realize this is a giant. This individual towered over the others, appearing to be at least 9 feet tall. The giant had to bend significantly to enter a mud hut, indicating his extraordinary height. The observation was made using infrared technology, which limited the ability to discern specific features like hair color. An Australian Army lieutenant deployed to Uruzgan province recounted a sighting while on sentry duty in an LAV, light armored vehicle. Using a thermal imager, the LT observed a large, human-like figure that appeared different from the usual Afghan locals due to its unusual clothing and size. The figure was lankier and moved with a distinct gait. Initially estimated to be 2,000 feet away, a more detailed scan revealed the figure was actually around 6,000 feet away. This recalibration of distance astonishingly suggested that the figure was at least 12 feet tall. The giant seemed to be walking at a leisurely pace, showing awareness of its surroundings and frequently looking around, especially near the compounds. The LT followed this figure for about 5 minutes before it moved out of his field of view. The figure's calm demeanor and the way it scanned its surroundings suggested an awareness and perhaps familiarity with the area. Despite the distance and the limitations of the thermal imaging technology, the size and behavior of this figure were unlike anything the LT had seen before. This encounter, unique and unexplained, remained etched in the LT's memory, marking a rare and unspoken experience during his deployment. Each of these accounts, coming from military personnel with access to advanced surveillance technology, adds a layer of credibility to the sightings. The descriptions, although varied in detail due to the different observational methods, consistently point to the presence of extraordinarily large human-like figures, far exceeding the size of an average human. These encounters, spanning different regions and times, suggest a phenomenon that goes beyond mere coincidence or visual error. The consistent observation of these giants engaging in normal activities, yet in a manner that highlights their extraordinary size, paints a picture of a hidden reality in remote parts of the world, witnessed by those who seldom speak of it. These stories, now shared, contribute to the unexplained phenomena encountered in the isolated and often hostile environments of Afghanistan. Cave network of Bamiyan. Deep in the Hindu Kush Mountains lies the Valley of Bamiyan, a place shrouded in mystery. Known for its ancient towering Buddha statues, this valley also harbors a lesser-known enigma, a sprawling, largely unexplored cave system that has intrigued explorers and historians. For centuries, these caves have been whispered about in local folklore and ancient texts, suggesting that they hold secrets far beyond our understanding. Among these tales, there are persistent rumors of hidden chambers filled with advanced technology, remnants of a long-lost civilization that once thrived in these remote highlands. The origins of the Bamiyan cave system are as enigmatic as the legends that surround them. Carved into the sheer cliff faces, these caves have been a silent witness to the rise and fall of empires, the spread of religions, and the relentless march of time. Some historians believe that these caves were once inhabited by Buddhist monks more than 1,500 years ago, serving as monasteries, living quarters, and places of meditation. However, the full extent of the cave network remains unknown, with many passages still uncharted and closed off to the modern world. Stories speak of a giant reclining Buddha, larger than the destroyed standing statues, waiting to be uncovered. These legends fuel ongoing archaeological interest and the hope that, despite the destruction wrought in recent years, more secrets of the valley's past are yet to be discovered. In recent years, the Valley of Bamyan has captured the attention of adventurers and researchers from around the globe. They come in search of answers, drawn by tales of hidden rooms and corridors that plunge deep into the earth, perhaps leading to undiscovered treasures or ancient knowledge. There are those who believe that these caves might even house evidence of advanced technology, possibly left behind by an advanced ancient civilization. This theory is bolstered by local legends speaking of strange lights and unexplained phenomena occurring in and around the caves. The cave system's potential link to advanced technology is not just based on local folklore. Some researchers point to the sophisticated architectural techniques evident in the construction of the caves, together with the colossal Buddha statues. They argue that the level of expertise required to carve these intricate structures directly into the rock face hints at a more advanced knowledge base than previously believed. Adding to the mystery, there have been sporadic reports of unusual artifacts found within the caves, items that seem out of place or time. These discoveries, often kept secret or lost in the chaos of the region's turbulent history, provide tantalizing hints of hidden chambers yet to be explored. The Afghan government and international preservation groups have made efforts to protect and study the site, but the vastness of the cave system, combined with the region's political instability, has made comprehensive exploration challenging. Many passages remain sealed, their contents hidden from the eyes of the modern world, fueling speculation and legend. The Afghan Sphinx. Although this Sphinx is not located in Afghanistan, but instead it's found in Pakistan, many connect it to a lost civilization that spanned the entire region, encompassing both Afghanistan and Pakistan. Towering in the Bamyan Valley, this colossal structure bears an uncanny resemblance to its namesake in Giza, stirring up a whirlwind of theories and speculations. Among these, the most intriguing posits that this Sphinx is not merely a whimsical trick of nature, but rather a man-made edifice, a creation of an ancient, advanced civilization long lost to the sands of time. The theory that the Afghan Sphinx is a product of human ingenuity rather than a mere geological formation opens a Pandora's box of historical and archaeological possibilities. Proponents of this view argue that the Sphinx's proportions and features are too precise, too deliberate to be the work of nature's indiscriminate hand. They suggest that this structure could be the remnants of a sophisticated society capable of such monumental architecture, a society whose existence and achievements have yet to be fully explored or understood. However, despite its potential significance, the Afghan Sphinx has not been the subject of extensive research. Political instability and the challenges posed by the region's rugged terrain have made archaeological exploration difficult. This lack of scientific inquiry leaves a void filled by speculation and mystery, with more questions than answers about the true nature and origin of this enigmatic structure. Adding to the intrigue is the ancient legend of a lost city known as Zohak. This city, named after a figure steeped in Persian mythology, is believed by some to have once stood in the vicinity of the Afghan Sphinx. The legend of Zohak, a serpent king bound by the hero Faradun, resonates with the imposing presence of the Sphinx, suggesting a possible cultural or mythological connection between the two. Could the Afghan Sphinx have been a part of this lost city, perhaps serving as a monumental guardian or a symbol of royal power and authority? The idea that the Afghan Sphinx might be a relic of the lost city of Zohak tantalizes historians and archaeologists alike. It presents the possibility of uncovering a forgotten chapter in human history, a chapter that could reveal new insights into the ancient civilizations of Central Asia. The Sphinx could be a key to unlocking the secrets of a city that has, until now, existed only in the realm of legend. The Vimana discovery. In the summer of 2012, a series of high-profile visits by world leaders to Afghanistan sparked a wave of speculation and intrigue. Barack Obama, David Cameron, Nicolas Sarkozy, and Angela Merkel all made unexpected trips to the region within a short span, each visit shrouded in a veil of secrecy. This unusual flurry of activity among the world's political elite led to rampant speculation. What could possibly draw such powerful figures to Afghanistan with such urgency? The answer, it seemed, lay buried in the deserts of Afghanistan, cloaked in the mystery of ancient legends and advanced technologies lost to time. According to leaked information from the U.S. Army, a startling discovery had been made. A 5,000-year-old Vimana, an aerial vehicle from ancient Indian lore, hidden within a cave. This was no ordinary find. The Vimana was said to be ensnared in a time well, a phenomenon that caused the disappearance of at least 8 American soldiers during an attempt to retrieve it. The concept of a time well, linked to theories of electromagnetic radiation gravity fields, harks back to Einstein's unified field theory and resonates with the enigmatic events of the Philadelphia experiment. In this context, the Vimana was not just an ancient relic, but a nexus of advanced scientific phenomena. The Vimana, as described in Hindu scriptures like the Mahabharata and the Vimanika Shastra, was a marvel of ancient engineering, capable of travel through air, water, and even space. Its design and capabilities were detailed in various Hindu texts, with descriptions of its use in warfare and exploration. These ancient accounts spoke of flying machines with deadly weapons and sophisticated propulsion systems, far beyond the understanding of modern science. The discovery in Afghanistan seemed to corroborate these ancient texts. Reports suggested that the Vimana found was protected by an energy barrier, making its extraction challenging. The mystery deepened with the revelation that the Vimana was caught in a temporal loop, a detail kept secret from the public. This discovery wasn't just a matter of historical significance. It had modern implications too. The possibility that the Vimana's technology could be reverse engineered or its secrets unlocked was a tantalizing prospect for any nation. It's no wonder then that the site of the discovery became a magnet for global leaders, each keen to understand or perhaps gain control of this ancient, advanced technology. As our journey through the mysterious discoveries and encounters in Afghanistan comes to a close, we are left with a profound sense of awe and a multitude of unanswered questions. Afghanistan, a land where history and legend intertwine seamlessly, has unveiled to us enigmas that challenge our understanding of the past and our perception of reality. From the haunting echoes of the City of Screams to the eerie encounters at Observation Post Rock, each mystery we explored opened a new door to a world where the supernatural seems almost tangible. The tales of the giants of Afghanistan and the Vimana discovery have blurred the lines between myth and historical fact, leaving us to wonder about the unknown chapters of human history. It becomes clear that Afghanistan is not just a geographical location. It's a repository of the world's most profound mysteries. These mysteries, whether rooted in fact or fable, remind us of the vastness of the unknown and the potential for extraordinary discoveries that still lie hidden beneath the sands of time. They encourage us to look beyond the ordinary, to question the established narratives, and to explore the world with a sense of wonder and curiosity. If you want to continue your exploration, we suggest you watch our documentary on Iram, the lost city of giants that is also known as the Atlantis of the Sands.